All right, here we go, everybody. If you navigate to the ERC website, log in there, you should see some slides for the Automatic Packet Reporting System, APRS. So, hope you guys enjoy tonight's training. This is a cool, something cool that we can do as hams, and one of my favorite, Steve Galbraith's favorite too. Don't ask him about it; he'll talk your ear off. Okay, let's go to slide number 2. What is APRS? Okay, APRS stands for Automatic Packet Reporting Systems. So essentially, it's a radio-based system for real-time digital communications of information that has immediate value to ham radio operators in the local area. You can transmit just about anything you'd like over APRS, but some common examples of the data we transmit are GPS coordinates, of course your call sign, weather station telemetry, text messages, announcements, certain queries, other telemetry. You can get all sorts of valuable information. And the coolest part about this is that APRS is all built around geolocation, so everything can be displayed on a map in real time. Super handy. Okay, go to slide 3. Let's roll with a little bit of backstory on APRS. So APRS was originally developed by a guy named Bob Baringa, who's now Silent Key, Whiskey Bravo 4, Alpha Papa Romeo. He first started messing with this back in 1982 on the old Apple II computers, big old suckers. He was using HF radios, and the main purpose was to track U.S. Navy ships and deliver position reports. They were doing that worldwide. Super cool. In 1984, this was kind of the next big leap. Bob used it to track horses on a 100-mile endurance run. there was quite a bit of publicity off of that, and that started to evolve pretty quick after that. It was then started to be known as the connectionless emergency traffic system. In 1986, the FEMA began using the protocol, and it really started to balloon there, and during the 90s is when it officially became known as the Automatic Packet Reporting System, and ever since then people have found all sorts of amazing things to do with these protocols. Slide 4. Okay, let's talk a little bit about what it looks like, because there's 100 different ways that you can display this information, okay? The very top left photo, that's how it appears on an iPhone, right? You got this sweet little satellite map and all these different little icons with the call signs of the transmitting station next to them. Here you can see basically Idaho Falls to Rexburg and some of the stations that are on there. The picture on the top middle is how it looks on an Android device. You can switch to satellite maps on the Androids too. Top right is kind of a fairly common display for handhelds. There's not really like a scrollable map that you can see on most handheld devices, but you get that fancy little compass that gives you the direction they are relative to you and a distance, so you can still kind of gauge where they are in relation to you, and all the same information is available. Bottom left is an application called APRS IS32. You don't need to remember that name, but it's the one of the many Windows PC applications you can run. That's my favorite personally. The bottom middle is how it looks on some of the Yaesu radios. Yaesu has a pretty nice little interface there, and of course Kenwood on the right. ICOM can do this natively, but they're a little bit more proprietary. You have to do some different digital stuff to make it work, so I didn't include ICOM for those reasons. So yeah, like I said, many different ways to view the information. Just about every different radio manufacturer does it differently. Some radios can do it all on their own. Others have to have, some software, a computer, or a phone to go with it to back it up. But we'll talk a little bit more about that in a second here. So let's move on to slide number 5. So we kind of seen a little bit of a basis of what it looks like, but what can we actually do? So let's assume there's no internet anywhere in the region that our radios could get to, even with the APRS repeaters. So So even without internet, we can still do live position tracking, instant addressable text messaging. Yeah, it'll actually like ring your radio like your cell phone, like, boom, you have mail, right? There's that endorphin boost for those of you who remember that. You've got mail. You can also check current weather conditions at weather stations that are set up and transmitting over APRS. So you can't get like spot forecasts for where you are, but you can see live current weather conditions from those weather stations. You can still see where other objects are, either relative to you or on a map, and get guidance to them. Around here, we have a lot of the major repeaters that are posted up on the APRS boards, and it includes what times the nets are, and their frequencies and their tones. So if you're out and about and you don't know what repeater to use, sometimes you can check APRS, and that information will be there for you. One of the really cool things is, even if we don't have internet, APRS just works. It'll either route you simplex or route you through a digipeater or a couple of digipeaters, and as long as you got your settings right, you'll get there without any extra input needed on the user end. It's absolutely incredible. Slide 5. So, let's say that anyone that has their computer with internet access connected to their APRS radio. So let's say within 150 miles, that's a pretty good range for APRS, but very doable. If we've got anyone in there that's got internet, we can now get spot weather forecasts for your exact location, SMS text messaging between ham radio and cell phones, like say your wife who's not a ham radio operator and just has a 208, yada 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 normal telephone. You can text their telephone from your ham radio, and they can text you from their telephone to your ham radio. Pretty sweet. You can check your WinLink emails. You can query call signs and get operator names. You can do instant messaging through WhatsApp, and loads of other things as well. And all that data that we've talked about on the previous slide, if there's internet, it's all available on the website, aprs.fi, and the associated iOS and Android apps. And people are finding new cool things to do with this all the time. It's incredible. Let's move on to slide 7. Let's talk a little bit about what you need. So a lot of you, if you do any digital communications, you might already have all the tools you need. Essentially, all you need is a radio. It can either have data capabilities natively, or you can plug a sound card interface into it, just like you would any other radio for a digital mode. You need a TNC. Some radios have it built in, others you have to plug it into. And you need a computer. Again, sometimes some radios have it all built in, other times you got to provide that. One of my favorite and simplest setups that I take is pictured here. This is just, you can use this with any old HT, but this is what they call the mobile linked TNC. Super, super handy, and it Bluetooths the information to your phone. So when I'm out in the field or backpacking or horseback riding or riding my dirt bike, I just throw that radio and that mobile link TNC in the backpack with the antenna sticking out the top, and my wife can track me wherever I'm at, wherever I'm in the woods, and send me text messages, and it rings my cell phone just like normal, except it's coming through the ham radio. So that's really all you need, just a radio, the sound card interface, and some sort of device, phone or computer, to get that information, or just get a radio that has it all built in. So there's not a lot to this here, folks. Let's move on to slide 8. Okay, when would this actually be helpful? When do we use it? Well, first off, it's fun. At least I think it is. Emergency situations, though, this is what we focus on all the time. This becomes incredibly valuable during emergency situations. You can still text each other, and that addressable messaging is almost invaluable. So not only can you stay in touch with people, you can still see where they are, right? So talk about asset tracking, whether we're trying to help the fire department or EMS find people who are hurt, or we're tracking assets like battery banks that are on top of the mountains, or repeater telemetry, or weather information. We can see all this stuff. Search and rescue operation kind of ideas, right? I've used this for coordinating camping locations with some of my non-licensed family members. You essentially just drop them your coordinates, or they go on to before they head into the mountains, you can send them a text message that says, hey, go to this website and type in my call sign, and it'll show them on a map where you are. We've used this as well on events like the Teton Dam Marathon and the Spitfire Race, although those of you who were just in the Spitfire Race might be shaking your head. I know. We're learning too, right? It's evolving. It's okay not to get it right the first time, okay? K7DAE. Let's go to slide 9. Okay, here's a little example of what an SMS message looks like. For this, I've included how it looks on a PC, which is the big image, and on an iPhone, which is the image on the right. So this is Steve and I having a little conversation, right? All of this was pretty well, it can be instant. It took Steve and I a little bit to get back and forth to each other on this example, but he and I have talked many times on this where it's just about as fast as you can type, you get the message. So that's kind of how the instant messaging goes on the left there. And on the right, you can see I've sent a message to WXBOT, the weather bot. That connected to somebody around the area that had internet and queried the weather bot. And it took my GPS coordinates from that query and let me know that when I sent this request, I was 9 miles east-southeast of Driggs, Idaho. The conditions were hazardous because it was going to be partly cloudy with patchy blowing snow and breezy with a low of 17 degrees. So how awesome is that information? Pretty sweet. Let's go to slide 10. Okay, we could keep going on and 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 on, but I'm not going to bore you. There are oodles and oodles of tutorials on YouTube. If something that we talked about tonight briefly caught your fancy, go look it up on YouTube, or ask Grok or ChatGPT. Those AIs know tons about this, more than I do. There's plenty of APRS gurus in our own midst as well. Steve, sorry, I choked on something there a second. But ask for help after a net, or any of those nets. Steve's not the only APRS guru. There's lots of them around that would be more than happy to share what they know. And play with it, guys. It's okay to flop. I flopped on the Spitfire race just barely, and I've been playing with APRS for years. So it's okay. We're learning. You'll get the hang of it. It's okay. I will tell you that not all interfaces are as easy as others. They're not created equal, but they all work. It's just a matter of how much you want to work at it. So, again, my favorite was the mobile linked. It's super easy. Or if you've got a PC that's already got digital setup and capabilities, all you probably have to do is download the program and change the frequency, and you might be on. So, anyway, tons of information, super, super valuable, and way cool. And with everything in amateur radio, the more people that use it, the better the system gets, right? And it's no good if it's just me. So I would encourage anybody that has any inklings or interests in what we talked about tonight to go search some more. It's wonderful. So let's move on to slide 11, and I'll take just a couple questions here. And yeah, we'll go for that. K7DAE.
KB7ITU comment.
Well, that's not a question. But go ahead anyway.
Okay, just want to let everybody know. So, first, this is dating me, but I was using APRS DOS back on my 286, so I've been in APRS a long time, Daniel. The other thing I was going to mention is if you want to do it on your computer at home, it's really, really easy with what you've already got probably for all the digital operators. You can do it with a DigiRig or a Signal Link. and it will work with APRS IS32. So super easy to set up, and it's a lot of fun. KB7ITU back to net.
Thanks, Steve. And yeah, you are a guru at this. Doesn't matter how long you've been doing it, you're still good at it. So, okay, more questions.
KC7IHV with a comment.
All right, Steve, let's have it.
I think we doubled with the other Steve, but several years ago when I was teaching classes, we had a number of senior people that were taking motorhomes and whatnot, as well as young couples that their parents was leaving, and they in fact put a APRS transmitter in their parents' mobile home or motorhome, and they would track them that way. And in one case, they noticed that the vehicle was off the side of the road, someplace down in southern Utah, in not a very good place. And so they got a hold of the highway patrol and had them do a safety check on them. And in fact, they had a serious medical issue. And in fact, it did save some lives from what I was told. So that's another option. And, kids, you can put them in kids' cars too. KC7IHV.
I'm guessing that was a hint with a couple winks there, Steve. You haven't done that, have you? Just kidding. We won't make you comment on that on the air. Okay, further questions.
KI7IQK.
KI7IQK, go ahead.
So I used to do some work with GPS in my work, and a PC with a GPS unit is pretty rare. I'm guessing you assume a static location, and you have to tell it your coordinates. Am I thinking right?
All right, your signal started fading out there, but I think I got the gist of the question. So you are correct. With most PC computers, they don't have GPS transmitters in them. So yes, with applications like APRS IS32, you can specify the location, and that works just fine. Most of the time when you're using a laptop PC, you're not going to be moving a whole lot, right? If you are, you can connect GPS units and it will still track you the same. That's maybe a little bit more advanced for the PC side. But every single cell phone that's made nowadays, any smartphone has a GPS unit in it already, and that's where it gets the information. And any radio that has APRS capabilities built in always has a GPS unit built into it as well. So you shouldn't run into that, and if you do, it's really super easy in these computer applications to specify your location. It's usually just like a point and say, hey, this is me. So good question there. Sorry we can't hear you a little bit better, but well, good luck on your travels. More questions there, K7DAE.
Comment W7SBE.
All right, Bill. I'm just W7SBE, go ahead.
Things have changed. I was a radio operator in Southern California with Ontario and with the Civil Defense, and it was 2 meter AM in those days. Things have certainly changed.
Oh man, isn't that the beauty? There's always something new to learn. All right, we'll go for another question or two here.
Yeah.
A little fast on the mic. Come again.
A5STF.
STF, go ahead.
Very interesting stuff. Two questions. One is, if my wife wants, if I want to communicate, if I've got a radio and she's got a cell phone, and does she need to have internet, or do I need to have internet, or does she need to have cell service? That's question number one. And question number two is, can we get some Zoom training on this?
Question number two, probably. I'm sure that our digital team would, they've got a slot available on their Wednesday stuff. I'm sure they would be more than happy to do something like that. We'll have to tease them about it. Answer to question number one, do you need internet to text your wife via ham radio if she just has a cell phone? And the answer is no. All she needs is cell phone signal, right? So how this works is that when you send a text message on your amateur radio, it bounces around through the digipeters until it finds one of these APRS radios that is connected to a computer that also has internet, okay? Once it finds any one of those, and it doesn't matter if they're at the keyboard or not, as long as they've got their radio turned on and the program running, your text message goes through their radio into the internet, and through the internet into an SMS gateway. After the SMS gateway, there's someone out there who pays a subscription, bless their souls, and sends that text message out to your wife. Right, and then it's routed through the normal cellular data or cellular networks till it gets to your wife, and then vice versa. Your wife replies to that message; it goes back through the normal cell phone radio towers, right, back into the internet, back to the same radio and computer that were connected to the internet because it knows that's where you were last heard, back out to the digiputers and back to your radio. It's pretty sophisticated. And the amazing thing is that the end operators don't have to think about a thing. They just transmit on a simplex frequency, no tones, just a simplex frequency, and all the magic happens for you. Does that answer your question?
Yes, very much. It'll be fun to start playing around with this and see how it works.
It's a hoot. My wife and I use it often, so great stuff. One thing to note, though, on that, if you're going to use the SMS gateways like that, it is very important to have those people who are using it on the cell phone end opt in to use that service. There's numerous links. I won't go into details on how to do that. Essentially, all you do is you go to the website of whoever's providing that SMS service and you say, this phone number agrees to the terms and conditions. And that keeps it legal and so that things don't get shut down. But I will just note that if that how to do that and where to go is readily documented on the internet because everybody wants to stay legal, right? So with that, we'll go for some more questions.
Kilo 7, Papa Charlie Foxtrot.
Papa Charlie Fox, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. So with that last reply about text messaging going over the network, how does that work with the new RCS protocols or with iPhone and their iOS? I can't remember their app that they use, but the digital encrypted protocol, does that just not work and you have to force your phone to use the SMS MMS protocols?
So, to the best of my knowledge, with both the iPhone and the Android applications, if it comes through as just a normal SMS text message, which it will from this SMS gateway, your phone will automatically reply to the mode that the last text message was sent, right? So if you send your wife a text message and it comes in as normal SMS, your wife's phone will automatically reply in normal SMS. For iPhone users, it will stay a green bubble. For Android users, I don't know what changes, to be honest. I'm an iPhone guy. I apologize, but I do know that both operating systems will reply to in the same mode and method as the received text message. Does that answer your question? I must have doubled with you. Does that answer the question?
Yes, very much. Thank you very much.
Roger, Roger. Okay, we got time for one more question, then we'll turn it on back to Steve.
KB7ITU with the last comment then.
Fire away, Steve.
Okay, so there's a lot of, and I won't go into a lot of details, but even with a handheld, it's very easy to get into a major digipeater. Like up on Relay Ridge, there's one on Relay Ridge, there's one on the old, I don't remember what the name of the place is now. It used to be the West Bank in Idaho Falls. They're both major wide area digipeaters. And so with most of the stations around here are set up with a wide 1-1 relay digipeter. So and so are the mobiles. So on a handheld, it's pretty easy to get into APRS. So always better to have a mobile. Always better to have a mobile because you don't know what kind of conditions you're going to have. But it's very active in this area, as you noticed on Daniel's maps. KB7ITU.
Thank you, Steve. Yep, I double what everyone said tonight, it's a great utility for us. And as far as digital goes, it's probably one of the more simple digital modes to get into. Again, WinLink, we can't overstate the importance of modes like WinLink, but APRS is pretty simple to get in for the basic stuff. So encourage you to do that, and with that, we will hand the reins back over to Steve. Take her away, buddy. K7DAE.
This K7DAE IHB acting as net control, and thank you very much again, Daniel, for your training this evening. That's always a really interesting topic with so many different spin-offs.